If you're on football Twitter, you've probably seen loads about a certain Italian defender and his aura since the Euros began. Riccardo Calafiori has had an outstanding season for Bologna and showed out against Albania in his competitive debut for the Italian national team. Everybody is talking about his aura, but what does that really mean? Today, we're going to talk about his rise, his beef with an Ajax Ballboy, and how his career almost ended before it even began. Despite making his name in the north of Italy, Calafiori is actually a Roman through and through. The tattoo of the Colosseum on his arm is all the proof you need. He grew up a massive Roma fan and was scouted by the capital side at the age of only 6 because of his impressive height and ability on the ball. Riccardo earned his nickname Ruspa, which means bulldozer, because of his toughness and power. His idol was Daniele De Rossi, so that adds up. The Roma Academy only starts at the U9 age level, so the youngster would have to wait 2 years before he could leave Petriana and join his dream club. As Calafiori rose through the ranks in Trigoria, he developed into a formidable left-back prospect. His athleticism and mentality gave him a natural edge, but he was also technically sound, capable of joining the attack when needed. This versatility meant that he signed his first professional contract with Roma when he was only 16, immediately joining the Giallorossi's Primavera side after winning the Italian Youth Cup with the U17s. Just as the only way seemed up for Calafiori, his second game for the Primavera team would threaten to completely turn his life on its head. Victoria Pilsen were visiting Rome for a UEFA Youth League match. With the score at 3-3 late in the second half, Calafiori went in for a 50-50, but was faced with the high studs of a Czech defender who crushed the young Italian's knee, tearing multiple ligaments. The injury was so severe, the general consensus was that he couldn't play again, and might even struggle to walk. To have any chance at returning to the field, he would need multiple operations on the knee and even more time in physical therapy to rehabilitate it. The path forward was uncertain, but Calafiori says all he could think about during this time was getting back on the pitch, no matter what it took. The club paid tribute to him in multiple ways. Edin Dzeko held up his jersey after a hat-trick against the Victoria Pilsen senior side, while his idol De Rossi visited him in the hospital on multiple occasions. There was only one small speed bump in his road to recovery, as Roma were planning to do the surgery in Italy, while Calafiori's agent, a certain Mino Raiola, insisted that his client instead be transported to the United States to have the surgery performed by Freddie Fu. Dr. Fu had performed successful knee surgery on Raiola's other clients before. After a lengthy battle with the club, Raiola got his way, and Calafiori was flown to Pittsburgh with one knee 3 times the size of the other. You don't have to come back as soon as possible, but you must come back in the best way possible. These were the wise doctor's words to Calafiori, which he took to heart. Over the course of a year, he worked his way back onto the field, returning to action for the Primavera squad against Chievo Verona in September of 2019. He missed some time for injury during the season, but eventually worked his way back to full fitness with a very impressive return of 5 goals and 2 assists in 13 games. Remarkably, Calafiori made it on the bench for the first team on multiple occasions in October of 2019, but was only given his debut by Fonseca in the last game of the season, away at Juventus. Riccardo not only started, but scored a goal that was ruled out and won a penalty put away by Diego Perotti as the Giallorossi ran out 3-1 winners. Nearly 2 years after his horror injury, Calafiori had just put out a dream debut. In September of 2020, Calafiori officially became a first-team player at Roma, though he was largely reserved for the 2020-21 season. He had a rough start, missing a month with COVID, but bagged his first goal for the senior side in the Europa League. He had a recurring hamstring issue that kept him out for chunks of the season, with only 8 appearances in all competitions, mostly coming in as a substitute left-back. He was stuck behind Leonardo Spinazzola, who was in the form of his life that season. Calafiori was crucial in the Europa League, where he came on in the quarterfinals against Ajax because of an injury to Spinazzola. The team mounted a 2-1 comeback win in Amsterdam, where, in an attempt to see out a game with a little time wasting, Calafiori was pelted by an upset Ballboy here, who he then scolded, which earned him a yellow card. In the return leg in Rome, he was crucial in Edin Dzeko's goal, which saw the Giallorossi through to the semi-final, a beautiful, full-circle moment for the youngster. In September of 2021, Mourinho arrived and brought in Matias Vinha from Palmeiras for depth at left-back, which was certainly not a vote of confidence in Calafiori's ability. Though he saw more minutes than he had under Fonseca, Calafiori didn't seem to fit Mourinho's team quite as well. Many Roma fans questioned whether his pace had taken a hit since the injury, because he didn't quite seem suited to the left-back position. His talent was evident, and on the ball, he was incredible. Defensively, he left something to be desired, but Mourinho noted that at times he seemed timid, reluctant to use his impressive 6'2" frame, which was understandable, given the injury he had suffered as a teenager. It didn't help that he played the full 90 minutes in Roma's embarrassing 6-1 loss to Bodo Glimt, which caused Mourinho to effectively freeze him out of the team thereafter. Roma loaned him out to Genoa for the last half of the season to get some playing time, but he only made 3 appearances for a total of 80 minutes on a relegation-bound side. Despite getting a Conference League medal with Roma, Mourinho deemed him surplus to requirements. Since Calafiori was an academy product, his €2.6 million sale to FC Basel counted as pure profit. Calafiori flourished when given more game time though, as his performances improved steadily throughout their season. Basel's manager was sacked mid-season and replaced with the sport sporting director, Heiko Vogel, who after 2 games in charge moved Calafiori from left back to center back. He showed significant improvement in the position, immediately comfortable and capable of remaining composed on the ball. He was also solid defensively with 34 tackles won and 36 interceptions across 23 league games. It's definitely not a coincidence that his performances improved as his hair grew out in Switzerland. Talk about aura. In August of 2023, Bologna presented Calafiori with an opportunity to return to Serie A. Their coach Thiago Motta was insistent on using him as a fluid center back capable of carrying the ball up the pitch. It was an alluring project, as Motta had guided the Rossoblu to a record high 54 points in Serie A the season before. Something was definitely cooking up in Emilia-Romagna. Bologna agreed to a €4 million transfer fee with a 40% sell-on clause for Basel, bringing Calafiori back on home soil. As we all know by now, Bologna blew everyone's expectations out of the water this season, and Riccardo Calafiori had a big part to play in that. He was top 6 in the league in interceptions and percentage of aerial duels won, along with an increase in interceptions and tackles won from the season before. On the ball, he had 96 progressive passes with an 89.6% pass completion rate, ending the season with 5 assists in the league and 2 goals which he grabbed in his final league game against his rumored transfer destination. Reuniting with Thiago Motta Juve is reportedly of great importance to him. After all, Calafiori credits his coach with helping him evolve tactically and in terms of overall discipline. Riccardo Calafiori was called up to the senior national team for the first time in May of 2024, having represented Italy at every level from the U15 age group onward. It was great to see him get the starting nod at Euro 2024. There's a lot of hype around him because of his luscious hair that is evocative of the classic Italian defenders, but we'll need to see more quality years from Calafiori at this level to determine just where he stands for the Italian national team. It's crazy to think that if he'd stayed at left back, we may never have seen him develop into the talent that he is today. Let me know what you think of this whole deal with his aura and him being overhyped in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. This was a quick one.